good morning. My name is Pablo Oliveira Briccio, not Pablo Escobar like somebody mentioned here. And today I want to share with you a story, a real story, that it was very important for me when I was your age, approximately your age. And at that time, there was a series in TV called Cosmos. It was about astronomy and about the universe, and the music that you heard just now is some of the songs from that series, TV series. For the ones that like the music, it's called Alpha from Vangelis. Okay, so it all starts. I remember I was in a book fair back in the days, and I wanted to buy the book of the series because I was watching the series in TV, and then the book came out. I wanted to read the book and learn more about what it said. So I asked my grandmother. At that time it was a bit of expensive book. I remember it was a big book, and at that time it was a bit expensive. And I asked my grandmother, and she said, well, are you really, really sure you're going to read the book? And are you really, really sure that you need it? And I said, yes, I'm really, really sure I'm going to read it, and I'm really, really sure that I need it. So she gave me the money, and I bought the book. Now, in this book, I learned about this early innovator, one of the first innovators that I recall or that I can relate to. His name is Eratosthenes. He was a Greek polymath. So what's a polymath? Well, you can more or less think that poly means many, yeah, because you can remember from school polynomials, many, monomials, yeah. So, but polymath means somebody that is versed in different subjects. So he was a geographer, he was a poet, he was a mathematician, he was an inventor, he was many things. And because he was a very educated man, he got a job as an assistant librarian in Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria. And for those of you that don't know, libraries back in the days, look at the time he was living, were like the Googles of today, right? So all the knowledge in the world was concentrated only in libraries. And even some people say, I don't know if it's true, but might be true, that boats or ships coming to Alexandria, they were not allowed to leave the port only after they copied all the books they had in the ship. Yeah, like the manuscripts they had, they copied the manuscripts, and only they were allowed to leave after all the books were copied. Okay, so he started working in the library as an assistant, and he was very smart. And 5 years later, he became the chief of the library, chief librarian or the head of the library. So when he became the chief of the library, he said, well, now I'm the chief of the library, I should be doing something important, right? Because I need to show the people that selected me that I'm worth it of the position. So, you know, and this story has a lot of lessons, yeah? A lot of lessons that we will see after. So he found a manuscript that was saying that on certain day of the year, objects did not, at 12 noon, objects did not project any shadow in Syene. Syene, it's a place south of Alexandria, what's today called Aswan. Okay, today is called Aswan. And so, you know, he was a chief of the library, very educated man. And you know, sometimes when you're very educated or when you have a lot of degrees, you think you know it all, right? And you stop learning because it's like the ego. Oh, I know everything. Who's going to teach me something? And when you fall in this trap, you stop learning. Yeah? But he was very open, and he was curious. So curiosity is one of the most important tools that anybody can have. Curiosity. Why is this happening? So, yeah, for anybody reading this manuscript, it would be like a normal thing. Yeah, okay, there's no shadow, so what? I don't care, right? So what's the benefit? Today, some people might say, what's the economic benefit? Yeah. But he was curious, and he said, well, that's very interesting. So he asked a simple question. Do objects have a shadow at the same day and at the same time here in Alexandria? And he recalled that yes, objects have a shadow at that same day. And the day we're talking about is 21st of June. Yeah, 21st of June is a very special day because it's the day that the seasons change. Yeah, it coincides with an astronomical event called the solstice. Okay. So, what's the tools that he had? Okay, so educated people at the time, they knew that the earth was not flat. That's the first thing that we have to recall. I mean, many people thought the earth was flat, but educated people at the time, they knew. Now, also another confirmation that the earth was not flat is what he was reading in the manuscript, yeah? So one of the only way that the earth could project no shadow in one place, yeah, and you see no shadow in one place and shadow in another place is if it has a curvature, right? Because if it's flat, all the shadows will be the same, okay? This is the first thing. The second thing, he used very rudimentary geometry. So from school, you can remember alternate interior angles. Yeah, you have two parallel lines and you have one line crossing. These angles are the same, right? So this is basic geometry, right? That in some countries you learn it at high school, in primary school, and other countries you learn it in high school, but anyway, you learn it early on. Now, the other thing he was going to use, because now I'm going to show you in the next slide what he did, right? But another element I want to share with you is this one. Okay? At the time of Eratosthenes, there were two ways to measure. Okay? One was using an odometer. This is like a wheel, you know. So if you have a wheel that has a circumference of, let's say, 1 meter, and you have 3 turns, it's 3 meters, right? So pretty straightforward. Now, some people argue that this method is not good. Yeah, I mean, it's good for like small distances. The problem is that when you have very, very long distances, if you have a little error in the wheel, yeah, or maybe the wheel is chopped or it's broken, over many, many, many kilometers, you know, you have a big error. Yeah, so the error keeps multiplying as the distance gets greater. So at the time there were some people, very interesting people, called the Bematists. Bematists were people that counted steps by walking, like this. Okay, so some people say, well, Pablo, but sometimes your step can be greater and sometimes can be shorter. So how are you going to make sure you're counting the steps correctly? Yeah? So what happens is, over time, statistically, you can have longer and shorter steps, but over time, statistically, you have like an average, and this average is quite accurate. So why I'm telling you all this? Because these are the tools that Eratosthenes used to measure. It's the first time in history that a person measures the circumference of the earth to a greater accuracy. Before they also measure it. Aristoteles and other people also measured the circumference of the earth, but nobody to this greater accuracy. So how did he do it? Okay, this is Syene, Aswan, okay, and this is Alexandria. Okay, so at 12 noon, 21st of June, yeah, objects in Alexandria, they projected an angle. Actually, this angle was, they measured it, it was like 7.2 degrees. Yeah, so this angle is the same as this angle. So he said, he made a very basic proportion. He said, if 7.2 degrees is equal to this distance, he didn't know this distance, but he paid somebody to go and walk from Alexandria to Syene and measure the steps and measure the distance. So this is amazing. Yeah. So he said, if this angle is equivalent to this distance, then 360 degrees is equal to x. Okay, so he made a very basic equation, and he got that the distance, the circumference, sorry, of the Earth is this one. Of course, at the time there was no kilometers. It's a measure called stadia. Doesn't matter, but it's equivalent to this. And also at the time there were no degrees. They used to, they said 1/5 of a whole circle. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but in today's numbers it would be like this. And the real number is this one. So actually the difference is very, very small. So his measurement was very, very accurate. Okay, so for me this is amazing, and this story, you know, influenced the rest of my life, because I was thinking, if somebody with such rudimentary tools can make such great measurements, imagine today with all the technology what we can achieve. Yeah. So this is the story I wanted to share, but I want to know from you, what's the lessons learned from this story? Anyone? No lessons? Yes, please.
Maths.
Sorry?
Maths. Mathematics. That's all.
Mathematics.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, basic geometry. Yeah, basic geometry. But I think one of the key things is curiosity. Because 1,000, 1,000,000 people could have read the same manuscript, but nobody was curious enough to say, well, why is this happening? Oh, there's a shadow. There's no shadow in this day, you know? So why is this happening, and why there's a shadow in Alexandria? And so curiosity for me is the first, as you said, mathematics, but also curiosity. What else? Any other learning from this story? Creativity? Yes. How can you expand a little bit? I mean, how is creative? Excellent, excellent. Yes, creativity and connecting all the dots. Yeah, this is very important, and this is typical from polymath people. People that know a little bit about everything. It's very common for people to connect the dots in this way. Another thing, I think, another lesson learned, and another people that we need to give credit, is the people that were walking, right? They were taking the steps, because the person could have been very creative, very good at math, very good at curiosity, but if the person taking the measurement didn't provide a good measurement, then the end result would not be good, right? So the people that were walking, I mean, they deserve credit as well. Yeah. So measurement. Yeah. What else? Other lessons? Yes.
So creativity is the spark, and as you said, hard work to achieve that goal. But also sometimes some people become stagnant, they become lazy. So try to never give up to achieve your goal.
Very good, very good. Yeah, never give up. Creativity, and then discipline, I would say. You know, discipline is one of the most important things I learned in my career. Some people are gifted; they have talents from. I mean, God gave us talents, right? Some people have more talents than other people, but what I've seen over years, what is most important is to have discipline. If you have discipline, you can achieve anything, even if you are not very talented or you have just a few talents. With discipline, you can achieve really amazing things. Okay, so I hope you love the story, you like the story, yeah, the way I liked it, and I took it for the rest of my life. And I leave you with Omar for the next step. Thank you.